I have reached the point in my office journey where I cry at everything. I cry at the happy moments, I cry at the shocking moments, and I have to say, Goodbye Toby is an incredible season finale. This is a two-part or double length 14th episode of the 4th season of The Office, directed by the wonderful Paul Feig, and every couple of scenes, particularly in the second half, every couple of scenes had something else to offer that was just completely unbelievable. So as always, I will go through the episode chronologically and share some thoughts, but my summary thought is that it's perfect. There was one moment that really frustrated me, but it's perfect. Starts off with Jim having programmed Dwight's phone to go to his earpiece. He's forwarded his desk phone. Dwight kind of loses it. And honestly, it would wind me up as well. We then learn, as the title suggests, that Toby is leaving. I don't want any spoilers, but I haven't looked ahead. I don't know if this is literally the end of Toby or if he ever comes back. I don't want to know, but I would like to think he does, but I don't have any reason to believe that. And they're planning the party. Michael wants an anti-gravity machine, and he takes money from his shoe. But this is just too chaotic for Angela. It's not possible. So she tells Michael, I don't want your foot money, which I loved. And he turns to Phyllis and he says, Phyllis, can you do this? And she looks at him and says, yes. And we'll come back to Phyllis in a little bit. Pam finds out that she's getting into art school. It's a 3-month program in New York. And initially I thought, does that mean she won't be in it for a couple of months? Then I realised, season finale, it's probably going to happen in between this and the next season. Then we have the arrival of a new character, Toby's replacement. This is Holly Flax, played by Amy Ryan. Again, I don't know. I mean, it would be a bit strange if she suddenly left, but it wouldn't be the first time a new character has left pretty quickly. But I don't know if she's in it going forward, but I liked her in this one. And Dwight initially was not loving her because Michael wasn't loving her. But Michael very quickly did start loving her. He told Dwight to get an original thought, which I absolutely loved. But Dwight, still keeps his opinion throughout the episode. Michael, though, has very quickly gone from not being keen to loving her. He wants some music to say, welcome to Scranton, and I love you, which is very awkward. And Jim then gives Phyllis some money to go and get fireworks for the party. And as soon as he said that, I knew what he was planning. And he confirms it pretty quickly that he's going to propose to Pam. And I have some thoughts on that, but we'll talk about that towards the end. Holly is then on the floor sorting out a chair. Michael does a Yoda impression. And after a couple of seconds, we don't know how Holly's going to react. She matches his energy with a Yoda impression. And then she makes a joke about an orgy. Has Michael found somebody who can match his personality and his style of comedy? Maybe. It has to happen at some point. Phyllis then approaches Angela and asks her for her list of vendors, and Angela shredded them all. I'm sure she had a digital copy, but nevertheless, she shredded them all. So Phyllis just swipes a bunch of stuff off of Angela's desk. It's so childish, and I love it. We then have Toby's exit interview. Really awkward. Michael got him a rock for a gift. I feel like Michael feels rejected, which is fair enough, but not fair enough that he should have given Toby a rock, and he ends up giving him his watch. And then, this is the first dramatic thing that happened that I did not expect. I was genuinely floored. There's a bit of commotion. They're watching a YouTube video of Rainn getting arrested and being carted out of the building. He's been arrested for fraud. What on earth? I had a feeling something would happen with Ryan's character and there would be a bit of a downfall because he kind of became very cocky very quickly and a little bit too big for his boots and a bit of a job's worth, and he rose very quickly. So I had a feeling there would be some kind of fall, but I did not expect that. So nervous to see what happens next. And then we have the party, and it's outdoors, and there's a bouncy house and a Ferris wheel. Phyllis did a really, really great job. And then Michael sings, which was quite pleasant. And Kevin, also, I don't like the way Holly's treating Kevin in this, but it's not her fault. She was told that Kevin was hired as part of a program to help people with learning difficulties or something. I don't love that, but I can see what they're going with. And Kevin's gone to the supermarket, and Michael... I've just realised he called it a supermarket. I had no idea the term was also used in the States. I thought it was exclusively grocery store. Unless I just misheard it. I could be rambling. Either way, he phones him and says, you need to get down here. And I kind of thought, what? Why? Why could he possibly need to go down to the store? And he goes down there, and I kind of thought this is a bit boring. He's just bumped into Jan, and then we find out that Jan is pregnant. And this was a tremendous roller coaster because Michael realizes it must have happened when they were together. But then we find out that he's not the father. She must have cheated on him. No, she didn't. She went to a sperm bank. I don't know what's worse. Well, I feel like cheating on him would definitely be worse. But going behind your partner's back to get pregnant when you're supposed to be in a committed relationship isn't good at all. Jan just doesn't have many redeeming qualities at all. And it's a bit of an upsetting moment because Michael always wanted kids, and clearly Jan does, but she wanted kids so badly that she would go to a sperm bank, but not badly enough to want them with Michael. That's gonna hurt. That really has to sting. We're then back at the farewell party for Toby, and we have the fireworks. And this is the bit that I hate, because Jim was about to propose. He was seconds away from proposing. He said Pam, she turned, and then Andy, who had been very quiet in this episode, Andy gets up and he proposes to Angela. And Angela says okay. And I love this moment because Dwight, to the camera, said, well, it's my own fault. And I feel like that's the first time, certainly one of the first times, where Dwight has genuinely held his hands up and said, this is my fault. I didn't behave properly. I ruined this really great thing. And I think I have a lot of respect for him in that moment. The reason I hate this moment, well, not that moment, but this scene, is because we were so close to the proposal. And Pam was upset that he didn't propose because she thought he was going to. And we know that she's going away for 3 months. And there was an odd moment when Toby asked her for a photo. Now, I'm not saying she's going to break up with Jim and go with Toby just because he didn't propose. I'm not suggesting that at all, but I am worried that Pam is starting to think Jim isn't as serious about the relationship as she is, which is not true. That's nonsense. But I guess if he's not given her any clear sign, and he's also... He was comforting her, like saying, yes, you're going away for 3 months, but it's only 2 hours away. I'll come and visit. Whereas she was the one who was kind of upset that they'd be apart. So I can understand why she might be concerned about this. She has no reason to be. And that's kind of another reason why I was frustrated. Not only frustrated because, for me as a viewer, I really wanted this to happen, but also because it now means that Pam might be in an uncomfortable headspace. So it better happen soon, and I can't imagine it would happen at the beginning of the next season, maybe the middle of the season. Maybe they get engaged in between the seasons, but I hope not. I'd like to see that moment. So I don't really know what to expect now. I genuinely thought this was going to be it. It was the perfect moment. And Andy kind of ruined it. That being said, there's no reason why Jim couldn't propose. He could have proposed still, just he wasn't going to do it in front of everybody anyway. They were kind of off at the back, so I don't know. We'll find out. And then a couple of awkward moments. Well, one awkward moment, one very, very shocking moment. Holly says she's going for dessert, and Michael doesn't want to go with her. He doesn't say it quite as nastily as that, but he was still just, yeah, you should go to this place. And it was clear that she was asking him out. And because he'd just seen Jan, he didn't pick up on this, or he wasn't interested, and I'm really, really concerned he's going to try and make things work with Jan. And he phones her and he says, I will go to the Lamaze class as you invited me. And at the very end, he says, I'm going to be kind of a daddy. And that child is not his, so the only way he can be kind of a daddy is if he has some kind of relationship with Jan. And I don't want it. I really, really don't want it. So I'm very nervous about that. And then the final moment, oh my goodness, Phyllis is, I think she's carrying like a box of supplies or something, I can't remember. She's carrying something into the office and it's all in darkness. Clearly there's nobody else there. She goes into the office and it's Angela. And for a split second, we only see Angela and the back of somebody's head. Naked, clearly. And then Dwight turns around and Dwight's face was a picture. Oh my goodness. It's not what I expected. I'm kind of glad because I like them together, but I was not expecting that. So there are so many things in this episode that were just completely unexpected. I don't know if I have any personal highlights. Phyllis saying yes, she can do this to the party planning. That seems like such a small thing in the grand scheme, but I really liked it. The character of Holly finding out Ryan's been arrested. That ending, just absolutely incredible. Two frustrating moments, of course. Not proposing to Pam. Very frustrated. And Michael potentially going back to Jan, which I don't like. Not just because I think he'd be good with Holly, but because I think Jan doesn't deserve him. So very, very desperate to watch the next episode, the next season. I cannot wait. And goodbye, Toby. I hope it's not goodbye, Toby, forever, but I don't have any reason to think it'll be one way or another. But certainly, goodbye, Toby was a really fantastic end to season 4 of The Office.